Hey friends, and welcome back to another Bookmas video. Today I wanted to share with you all some books that I plan on reading in January. I cannot believe we're almost celebrating New Year's. Like, it just blows my mind. It's almost 2023. I'm struggling to just comprehend that it's almost a new year, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. But today I just wanted to share with you some books that I plan on reading in January. It's a bit of a smaller, I guess, pile of possibilities than I normally share, just because I have quite a few buddy reads. There's a readathon happening, and then there is this secret readathon, and you have to wait until tomorrow to find out what that is. But there is a readathon that I will be hosting, and I will have a separate TBR video for that readathon. So this list may still seem huge to some of you, but I do read a lot each month, and so I feel like for me it's a bit of a smaller list, which that's okay, that's completely fine. But I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the first readathon that I want to participate in, and that is the Read in the New Year readathon. And this is hosted by Oshina and Holly, and I'm so excited to participate in this. It goes for the first week of January, and each prompt has to do with a very popular New Year's resolution, which I think is a lot of fun. So the first one is lose weight, which is a very popular resolution, obviously. And the prompt is to read a book that is under 200 pages. So for that, I hope to read Russian Tales. This is a collection of Russian fairy tales and folk tales, and I'm really excited to read it. This one also has a lot of really beautiful illustrations, and I just think it's going to be a very quick read. So this one is about 150 pages, so I'm hoping that I can read this within a day or spread it out throughout the week. I guess we'll see how it goes, but this is the first book. The next prompt is Eat Healthy. Read a book where food is a major part of the story. And I couldn't really find a book that is an actual fiction novel where food plays a really big role. And I'm not sure if this would count, but I'm gonna count it, and that is this Little Women cookbook. And to me, this counts just because there are sections of little tidbits about the food that the March sisters would have eaten, and just like different things they would have done on their picnics and things like that. So to me, honestly, this counts. Just as an example, here's an apple orchard picnic, and I just think it's really interesting to read, and yeah, I'm gonna count this. Hopefully it does count. Next is Drink More Water. Read a book with water on the cover, and for that I plan on reading Set the Stars Alight by Amanda Dykes. And this is also the Christian Book Club pick for January, so this works out perfectly. And I am dying to read another Amanda Dykes, so perfect book for this prompt. Next is Social Media Detox. Read a book that is set in the past, and Set the Stars Alight works for that as this is historical fiction, so reading this for that prompt as well. The next one is Make a New Friend, and that is to read a book by a new to you author. And so for that, I chose The Ice Swan by Janelle, is it Chiselski? Not sure how to pronounce her last name, but I've never read anything by this author, and this one seems to be very wintry. It has to do with ballet, and it's set partially in Russia, partially in France, and I just think this would be a perfect January read, so this book is picked for that prompt. The next prompt is Exercise More, and that is to read a book in a series. For that, I'll be reading To Whisper Her Name by Tamara Alexander. This will be a reread for me, but it's been years since I read this book, and I really want to read it again. And this is the first in a trilogy, so that works. The last prompt is Save Money, read a book that you did not pay for, and Russian Tales works for that as it was a gift. But besides this readathon, there are two challenges that I also want to participate in, and the first one is Oshina's Christian Romance Reading Challenge. So each month she has a different prompt for Christian romance. And her challenge for January is to read a past favorite, and so for that I decided to read To Whisper Her Name, and I also added it in for the Read in the New Year challenge, just because I don't want to be reading a million books in January, so this works for her challenge as well as for the readathon. And then for Chantel's Read Your Bookshelf challenge, which I also want to participate in, the prompt for January is to read a book that has either the word "a" or "the" in the title. And so Set the Stars Alight is perfect as it has the word "the" in the title. So there we go. I'm sure there are a couple other books that would also work for this, but I want to use as few books to fill as many prompts as possible. So those are the books that I need to read for these reading challenges as well as the readathon. And then you'll be hearing about the other readathon that's happening, and that video is coming out tomorrow. So like I said, be on the lookout for that. But I do have a few more books that I would like to read in January. This first one is one that I started this month and plan on finishing it in January, and that is Martin Chuzzlewit. And this one I am really enjoying. I'm having such a fun time with it, and I hopefully can finish it in January. I am on page 130, making progress through this, and it's really, really good so far. And then I do have a few buddy reads planned. So the first one is The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins, and I'm hoping to buddy read this with Janelle. I still have to like confirm that it's happening in January, but I'm hoping that we can buddy read it. And this one is the next Wilkie Collins that I really, really want to read. I've heard nothing but praise, and I'm very, very excited to try this book out. This next book is huge, and I'm not sure if I'll finish it in January, but I do plan on starting it, and that is The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wong. This is a self-published fantasy that I've heard only good things about, and I plan on buddy reading this with my lovely friend Chrissy from Chrissy's Purple Library, so I'm very excited to buddy read this because with high fantasy, I need other people to talk to about the book. Otherwise, there are certain things that confuse me, and I'm just really looking forward to the buddy reading experience. So that is The Sword of Kaigen. And the last buddy read is The Winter Sea by Susanna Kearsley, and I will be buddy reading this with Mitzi from Mitzi Reads and Writes, and I'm very, very excited for this as well. I read Susanna Kearsley for the first time in November and loved the book that I read, and I'm just so excited to get into this book. So that is the last buddy read. Actually, this last book is a buddy read. I just completely forgot about that, but I will be restarting Les Mis. I started this in the fall, put it down, never got around to continuing it, so I'm going to restart it in January, and this I am going to drag over a few months. I'm not going to force myself to read it in a certain amount of time, but I'm hoping to finish it by the end of March, and I will be buddy reading this with a subscriber and very dear friend, Lindsay, and I'm very, very excited to buddy read. I think buddy reading is really becoming something that I just love, and I wish I could buddy read every book that I read. I think it would be such an amazing experience, but I'm just so excited to be buddy reading this massive book, and yeah, looking forward to it. So that is Les Mis. It just hit me now how big this pile is, and it's not just that, a lot of the books are massive. So I'm not sure if I will read any other books besides what I've mentioned. I do have some more books that I would like to read in January. I don't think it's possible, but we'll see. The first one being Pachinko, and I do have the audiobook coming in from the library sometime at the beginning of January, so I have a feeling I'll start it. I just don't know how it'll go, but there's Pachinko. I'd also really like to read another Brandon Sanderson. I don't know if it'll be possible, but if I do get to it, I'd love to read Elantris. This is a standalone, and it doesn't look to be too long, so we'll see about that. And then I have two more quite wintry books, and if I can't get to them in January, I'll try to prioritize them in February because they are very wintry and I like to read seasonally. The first one is The Golem and the Jinni, and this one is a historical fiction fantasy, and this takes place in New York City, and it's very wintry from what I have heard and inspired by Jewish folklore, and it just sounds perfect for winter. And the other one is a contemporary, and that is Bear Town by Frederick Bachman, and this one's also very, very wintry as well. So don't know if it'll happen, but those are options. But that is my TBR for January. I am really, really hopeful. I'm just a little nervous about the second half of the month because it's gonna get really busy with school. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how much I end up reading, but I am very, very excited for the majority of these books. But yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you all so, so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow for my last Bookmas video. Bye.